You already know. You know what your answers to your deepest questions are. But there's some conflict externally, internally, that's telling you that doesn't feel safe. It might be that you know someone in your life, if you live by this truth and go for this truth, is not going to like that. And, maybe they've got some kind of power over you. Whether it's, more financial, physical, whatever it is, that might feel really scary to your system to do something that might jeopardize that relationship. Could be a relationship with an organization like your job, or it could be with friends, with communities. Um, it could be a conflict in your own brain because there's parts of you that know you want to go for something from your higher self, from your true heart, your soul, your truth, what lights you up. But there's other parts of you that are scared. And I dare say these parts exist even if there's external um, people, places, things getting in the way. But you already know what you want to do, how you want to follow what lights you up. You already know. And if you've let all the stories of the external world's idea of what you should and shouldn't do, again, that word should, just throw that out. It comes out for examples occasionally on this channel, but I don't want to shit all over you because I believe you're a sovereign being that can create your own life and make those sovereign choices for yourself that are for your best and highest. And you have the right to do that. So, who am I to tell you what you should do? Who am I to tell myself I should do something because someone else told me I should do it, even though it doesn't feel right for me? Again, goodbye, should. We already know. We're just scared. There's parts of us that are scared. And that's so normal. It's so human. And if it is consistently holding us back from living the life and creating the life we want to live, well, we get to look at that. And if we bring more curiosity to it, without making it such a heavy, serious thing that we can't get out of our own way, or some kind of external dynamic is having it feel like we can't create any progress with this thing that's important to us. Maybe right now, maybe it feels like maybe in the future that it will be different, but what's got to happen between now and that future? What's got to change in order for that to feel accessible? And are you waiting for an external, out of your control circumstance to change in order to choose to step into that for yourself? It's totally your choice, up to you. But if you know something's aligned for you and you're putting it in the hands of the world around you, anyone but you, which you have zero to no control over. I mean, zero to no, yeah, it's just basically no control. You might have a tiny bit of influence, but really the only person you can control is yourself, who's, and even then, there's a lot going on there in different parts, conflicting, that can often have a self-sabotage. So you could even argue that we can't even 100% control ourselves some of the time because of all our patternings that we are just operating by, and it takes us doing the work, the internal work, to figure out whether if we want to shift a pattern and to do the work to actually shift that pattern. So, or many patterns likely. So, yeah, you already know. So, just with curiosity, like, what would it take for you to take back your control? What would happen if you see these external factors, whether they're people, places, things, and you chose to go for it anyway? What might happen? What relationships do you think might blow up, or um, networks for you might blow up, or yeah, go down the path of what's the worst that could happen, and maybe it will be that bad. But considering our brains love to kind of doom and gloom us to the point that you know we'll probably think up lots of worst that could happen, and if we actually went for it, none of them will happen. In fact, sometimes you'll find the world's quite receptive to you. You just needed to actually take the leap and choose for yourself to step into this version of yourself. It's so fascinating how we hold ourselves back and we tell ourselves that something's not possible for us. And it's like when you're watching like a movie or reading a book of a character that is clearly holding themselves back, and you can see it so plainly, as you have the maybe meta perspective depending on the writing style of the author. You might have an overview of what's going on, what's happening on the other side of the relationships, which they don't know yet. It might be so obvious to you that everyone would support them if they really went for it with what they want to do, or at least the people that are most important would support them, and then the others would come around or are just not supposed to be in their life, and they'd be better off without them in their life. And you can see that plainly when you're watching a narrative play out, you know, in a film or through a book, and we don't necessarily feel like we know that in our own lives because we rarely are privy to what others are thinking of us unless they choose to share that with us or we accidentally overhear it. um, but also, it doesn't matter. It's actually none of our business what anyone else thinks of us. If they choose to share something with you and it can be constructive or it's complimentary, then obviously we can choose to take it on or not. But and it might be some nice moments, but again, it's like what's most important is that we learn to internally validate ourselves and feel worthy without needing that external validation or needing someone to agree with us for us to know and trust what lights us up and what's right for us in our own sovereign lives. So, yeah, I just want a world of lit up sovereign human beings that are doing what feels right for them, still being kind to others and still understanding and respecting what's going on, what might be going on for others, but also not taking it personally if something's not aligned. If there are, things you'd like someone around you to do that they just are choosing not to do for whatever their sovereign reason is. Like, that's okay, but don't hold yourself back from what lights you up and gets you going for the sake of someone else's sovereignty. I don't think, like, obviously when you're in relationships there's compromise, and I do think that there's a level of compromise that has to happen in any relationship, not just romantic, but friendship and family um, relationships and yeah, colleague relationship, work relationships. There's got to be a bit of back and forth, and it's never going to be 50-50. And I don't think having a tally like that is a good idea. But like, if you're consistently going against what feels sovereignly right to you in your best and highest, that's something to notice. But also, if you notice someone else, maybe you're really good at stepping into it, and you notice someone else is not feeling lit up, or they're taking bad behavior from others, and you just see their light being dimmed. You know, it's a beautiful, kind, and respectful thing to do, to see if you have the capacity, how can we help lift this person up and let them see that their own sovereign light is important, and that they get to choose to prioritize it for themselves, and they already know when something's a yes or no for them. We just have been trained out of trusting that knowing. I talk about this because I shared about tip testing the other day, which is a great somatic tool to tune into your body, um, to calibrate for yes and a no answer to questions that you might have for yourself in your energy field, your body, your system. And I was just thinking about it, and like, I don't often stand up and do tip testing. And I was like, why is that? Because I love it so much, and I love that I can ask myself my own yes or no questions and get a grounded, trustworthy answer for what's best for my life. Not anyone else's opinion of my life, but actually my life. And then I realized, well, I ask these questions, but in different ways. And I don't need to show it through my body necessarily through that tipping motion in order to know what my yes and no is. I just already have that feeling if I'm listening, if I'm choosing to listen. And sometimes it'll be just that I close my eyes and I feel into, is this a yes or a no for me? And sometimes words will just come up and it'll say yes or no. Or sometimes it's just like, that's my no, that's my yes. And I just feel like, is this a yes or a no for me? And maybe it's like, oh no, that's feeling like a no. And I just feel into it without actually having to physically do the tip testing. I'm kind of internally doing it in a different way. And it's because I've learned to tune into my own inner knowing. Um, and it is a reminder I need constantly. So I hope you keep cultivating those moments for you to tap into your inner knowing, what's important to you, um, to go for, to what can you let go of, what can you amplify, what can you do to make what's true for you what you get to create and live with, and enjoy in this world. And I mean, also, how can you inspire others to do the same for themselves so that we can create a ripple effect and have the world full of wonderful, sovereign human beings that are lit up and creating good things in the world? Anyway, I'll leave it there for tonight. Thanks for listening. I will see you tomorrow. Much love.